Hello and welcome to another review of a show that defines cliffhanging and climbing more than anything, rock climbing girls. My name is Ronnie, and today, like I said, we're talking about Sports Climbing Girls episode 7. Are we on episode 7? Because I feel like we are at this point of the show, because we're getting into a point where you're just like, yeah, let's talk about it. And yes, we're on episode 7. Now, as you can see, my bookcase is really lighting up. I've got my own Rico shrine and figures and all that stuff, so developing on the thing is really good. Now, let's talk about episode 7. This was not about Konomi's moment. This was about June. Now, here's the thing. People are saying that, people have a thing for June. I don't. To be honest, June is not my favorite girl. But this episode was dedicated to June. And the comments that you have posted, I appreciate it, saying, who's my favorite girl? Before I begin this review of episode 7, I'd like to say this. I'd like to answer your question. Who's my favorite girl of sports climbing girls? Of sports rock climbing girls? Now, here's the thing. This was a tough pick. But I tell you this. The spider-looking climber, she is my least favorite girl. She looks creepy. I mean, a spider climber with rabbit ears, she's kind of creepy. My friend likes her. I don't know why. But to me, up to this point right now, my favorite girls is the main girl, Konomi herself, and the Black Panther climber, with the white hair, short white hair. Something about that climber, that captain screams like, I like her. Something about her says, I like her so much. But so far, those are two girls I like. Now, let's talk about episode 7. Everything was dedicated to June. Her climbing method is so unique, and her backstory, we get more and more of her backstory as to why she's into rock climbing in a way that makes us understand about her. But June, now I'm gonna split this down to somewhat. Konomi. Now, Konomi, we all rooted for her since she did the first 3 attempts and one fell swoop. Everybody was just liking her. The moment she climbed the first obstacle, in one completion, clap. Second attempt, third attempt. But then when she got to the 4th attempt, Konomi she spaced out. You know what I mean? She literally spaced out. I don't know what happened. And just her puzzle skills are just dropped the ball. And looking at that episode, I had to watch it twice just to understand it. Looking at that episode over and over again, I felt like she has that weakness. Everybody with eye powers has a flaw. Everybody with eye powers have a weakness. So when I look at her weakness, it's kind of like with her puzzling skills, if there's a time limit, she freezes. She froze. She hesitated, and when she gets on that climb thing, she just falls. You know what I mean? That's the thing. She only did one climb, and then she falls. And I think if she was to memorize the puzzle in a fast-paced way, she could have climbed the obstacle in more time. But they're giving her 5 minutes, so you're just thinking okay, she got it. But it's her timing. That's the key to it. It's her timing. So when she climbs it, she fails. Now, as for the ballerina girl, I don't care about her. She could scream. She could she could scream all she wants. She could cry all she wants. She knows Konomi's better than her. She could cry all she wants. I don't care. Her war cry ain't enough, because she keep falling, so what's the point? Now, June. This whole video right now is going to be dedicated to June, because looking at her story, I'm going to just break it down to somewhat that you guys can understand. Hear me out for a bit. Do I love and hate June? Yes and no. This is a yes and no, or both. Me, both. Here's how. We see June's backstory when she hasn't been around with friends to talk about rock climbing. I get that, because we understand where she's coming from, because I'm like that too. Like when I was in high school, I always talk about anime, but I never had enough friends to talk about anime. We just talk about wrestling, we talk about music and school life, all that stuff, but not talk about anime on a regular basis. We don't talk about anime like that. So I get where she's coming from to a point where her mind is all about climbing. She loves rock climbing. She dedicated her life to rock climbing. And she had these other 3 friends that don't even care, suitable enough to say, talk about rock climbing. They talk about this, So she's been alone about that. Now she has a friend. Now her friend, this other friend, comes in play I mean, this other girl comes in, wants to be her friend, eat lunch together, and climbing, and they even try rock climbing for the first time. She enjoyed rock climbing. But then it's that intensity energy. It's that intense thing where June, this is why I hate her. She takes this sport very, 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 very seriously. And I get that. We've all been in that situation where we like this sort of event and we take it seriously. But you can't push your friends out the way and saying, this rock climbing is a serious sport. Take this seriously. Don't join the rock climbing club just for fun. Take this sport seriously. And that's like, oh, but you're there for fun, like you may not like rock climbing, but you want to go for fun. You want to experience it. So if there's I'll give you an example. Let's say there's a bowling club and you guys are bowling, you just experience bowling for the first time and you trying it out. You trying out for the fun of it because you want to experience it. But then you got this other person in the club saying, take this sport seriously. What June did in this episode, she pushed her away saying why are you doing this? You just want to be friends with me. Take this sport seriously. If you don't want to take the sport seriously, go with them. So what we got seeing from June is that June lost her credibility of climbing and she losing her friends over it, that not only she take this sport seriously, but she losing the lack of friends. And that's what we see in the flashback of June, not pushing herself to the limit. I mean, for every attempt that she climbs, she hesitates every single event. I mean, every single obstacle. And that's kind of hard for her, that's kind of hard. I mean, she can't, here's the thing, like I said, I have a love and hate relationship with her because on the one hand, yeah, she's trying to be the best and you're trying to outreach and you have a rival like Konami that you two are willing to go out in a distance and you two are good friends at some time. But then here's the hateful part. You're pushing your friends, your ego, you're pushing your friends away so much that you're taking rock climbing seriously. Kind of like how Bakugo is. I hate Bakugo. Bakugo's a dick. He take things seriously. Now he don't care about people. He don't care about his friends like that. And then when I look at June, I'm like, June, you're doing the same thing Bakugo's doing. You don't care about the fun of rock climbing. Yes, rock climbing is a sport, but have fun doing it. Duh. That's what I'm trying to say. So when June finished, she started, even Konami was giving her some water, but June being a dick, just walked away and not even care. And she started crying at the end. So I'm so overall, I like this episode. This episode has got me thinking more and more about June. Should I like June or should I hate June? There's a plus and there's a minus to this. I get it. There's a plus and minus. But as at this point right now, I kind of have a factor going on with this episode, especially this. So I can't, like I said, this is a tough call for me to say, do I like June or not? But overall, this was a nice episode, seeing more and more backstory of June. And I see where we're still in the semifinals. We're on episode 7, we're in the semifinals. We're not even in the finals yet. And the way how this competition is, I feel like June is gonna be out. Because not everybody, Konami did her thing. She did 3 out of 4. That's fine. And June hasn't, she still has a long way to go. So I think she's going to be out of the competition for sure. Rest assured that's going to happen. But let's just see how that works out later on in future episodes of Sports Climbing Girls. But again, this was a episode that we get this was a nice episode because we get to see more backstories of June. And that's what I like about the Sports Climbing Girls is that every girl that we're going to see we're going to have a backstory as to what made them join rock climbing girls and what motivate them to get to the top, if you know what I mean. So thank you for watching this episode of Sports Climbing Girls, episode 7. This was a night, like I said, good episode, good thing to start with June, seeing more June. Seeing her backstory. So I hope they continue on with other girls and their backstories. And I look forward for the next week's episode. And let's see how the semifinals kicks in with all the other captains and all the other girls getting ready to climb. Thank you for watching.